Brilliance Audio presents the unabridged recording of Tell Me Again by Michelle Major, performed by Natalie Duke. Chapter 1. Turning the key in the lock of her back door, Samantha Carlton let out an exhausted sigh. It was nearly midnight, a good 6 hours after she'd expected to return home, but her relief at ending a day filled with contractor fights, renovation setbacks, and her bleeding checkbook was short-lived. The house was quiet. Too quiet. She lived alone except for Frank, her 100-pound Alaskan Malamute, whose personality was more lapdog than protector. Frank, who hadn't been fed dinner or been let out since she'd left around noon for meetings at the summer camp she owned. Frank, who had a habit of chewing table legs, couch cushions, and occasionally walls when left to his own devices for too long. His greetings were always over-exuberant bursts of affection when she came home, as if he'd missed her for weeks instead of hours. But there were no telltale claws clipping on the hardwood floors, no pants of breath and happy woofs as he barreled toward her. The silence did not bode well for a restful night. Dropping her purse, keys, and fleece jacket on the kitchen table, Sam peeked her head around the doorway of the family room. If Frank was up to no good, she wanted to catch him in the act. Not that he was trainable, but she kept trying. It took a moment for her eyes to adjust to the darkness, the room lit only by a sliver of moonlight coming through the wood shutters of the large window. Frank was sprawled across the couch, his massive paws draped over the side. Her breath caught, because Frank wasn't alone. He glanced up at her, his tail thumping twice before he lowered his head to the jeans-clad thigh of the girl sleeping next to him. Sam felt like she'd been punched in the gut, all the air leaving her lungs in a whoosh. The girl, who couldn't have been older than 13, was a stranger, and yet so familiar. From the golden blonde hair fanned over the throw pillow to the slight slope of her nose. It was like looking at a ghost. Fingers trembling and her heart pounding against her ribs so hard it hurt. She flipped on the light, but stayed in the doorway. She didn't trust herself to move closer. The girl opened her eyes, blinked several times, and glanced around like she wasn't sure where she was. When her eyes fell on Sam, they widened and...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?